What is up, guys? Smooth here, back with another Minecraft video, and today we're going to be looking at the Clash of Mobs mod. What this mod basically does is it adds aspects of Clash of Clans as well as Clash Royale into Minecraft. So I made this little makeshift Clash Royale kind of arena so you guys can see what it could potentially look like. So these are some special blocks that have been added into the game. They don't really have any function, but they just give it that interesting look. So they are called the COC stone as well as COC grass. They essentially don't, again, they really don't do anything, but they look pretty cool. And they also have their own biome. So it's called, I think, COC biome as well when I looked inside the configure folders. But looks kind of interesting. I'm not sure what purpose this will function within the actual mod, but it's worth noting that it's already added into the game. So also in here, you'll see that I have these little tower structures, which we'll talk about, and two of them, oh yeah, they despawn after, I think, roughly 5 minutes. So as I was setting these up, I guess they despawn. This one should be gone any second as well, I imagine. But yeah, you could do a lot with this. So let's first start looking at some more of the structures. So over here you have the walls, which you would see in Clash of Clans. So let's open this up over here and I'll show you how they function. So you have two different kinds of walls over here, as well as this, well, I guess you can call it three different kinds of walls. And the reason why there are different kinds is because of their orientation. Some only go north, some only point north and south, and some only point east and west. So if I place this, no matter how I place them or like relative to the position of the others, they will always be the same way, as will these. These basically will connect the corners. So if I wanted to kind of make a corner like that, you'd put this right in that spot over there. So this is how you would protect your base, and let's go into the mobs now. So let's first look at the tier 1 troops. So we have the archer as well as the barbarian. So I'm going to go over here and I'll spawn a tower so we can see how these guys actually function. So let's put down a tower, and let's first start off with the archer. So you can see the tower over here. Let me just point to it over there. You'll see in the top left corner it has 1050 HP. Let's put down the archer. The archer has 48 HP. It's going to aggro the tower, and it does a decent amount of damage. It looks like it's doing 88 damage per hit. It did 78 minimum, 104 maximum. And let's see, let's wait for 1 or 2 more hits. It is officially dead. And it drops something here called Elixir. Now, they actually misspelled this. I'm not sure why. It's spelled Elixir. But this is basically used to craft items inside this mod. It's a little bit different than how it would function inside the actual Clash Royale or Clash of Clans game. But again, this might have some different gameplay dynamics. And I don't know why I'm leaving over there. Let's go and look at the Barbarian. So Barbarian is going to be a little bit more tanky, and he's going to be melee. So you'll see actually, I think the HP is actually the same. But I think I might have downloaded a previous version of this mod where he might have had more HP. In the actual games, he's much more tanky than the actual archer. You'll see a couple more hits, and he's going inside the tower basically to do his damage. And the tower is almost down in itself, but let's wait for this battle to finish up. Well, I'm going to win this fight. And he drops Elixir as well. So let's go into the tier 2 mobs now. So these are going to be a little bit stronger. Let me put these items away in this chest over here. Let's get rid of these walls. Let's get rid of the Elixir. And look at the tier 2 mobs. So let's put these two guys over here and grab these out. So first up, we'll look at the balloon. So this one kind of has an interesting function. So let's put this tower down, spawn the balloon, and you'll see it's going to fly over him and it's going to drop a bomb right on his head. And it is pretty destructive. But what I've noticed is the way the mod was coded, as this thing flies around kind of randomly. And I'm not sure if it's programmed to like go up and down and then attack again, but it just seems to do that first attack and then just kind of float around for a little while. But let's go and kill it, and you'll see that after you kill it, it has its own little effect as well. There we go. Yeah, it drops a bomb upon death, similar to the way it does in the game. So let me see. I haven't actually played much Clash of Clans. I do play Clash Royale quite a bit. So I know that it does drop a bomb upon death in Clash Royale. Clash of Clans, I'm not so sure. All right, next up we have the Wallbreaker. All right, so the Wallbreaker basically has a bomb in his hands. He's going to run into melee range, and eventually he's going to self-destruct, just like that. And he actually has a pretty decent-sized blast radius. All right, next up we have the Wizard. The Wizard will shoot fire charges, and again, it'll have the same effect as a normal fire charge would. I'm not sure exactly how much damage it does, but it actually has an interesting effect with the Archer Tower, is that it can blast back the fire charge, again, the same way it would in vanilla Minecraft. And it looks like he's not going to last much longer, and he is officially gone. All right, next up, let's spawn the Giant. The Giant is this really big looking, almost looks like a RuneScape bot. And he has quite a bit of HP, so he's very tanky, but he can only get within melee range. And since these arrows have a bit of knockback, it's not ideal to kind of put these things without any support troops. Kind of similar to how it would function in Clash Royale, although normally you would have these in the front to tank. So let's get rid of him. See, the sword I have is really OP, and again, he drops elixirs as well. See, is that everything? Wallbreaker, Wizard, Giant, and Balloon. Yep, so we went over all the tier 2 mobs. Let's look at what we have in tier 3. So let's put these guys away over here and get to the tier 3s. So we have a dragon as well as a Pekka. So let's actually spawn another one since this one is basically down in this hole over here. So Archer Tower right here, and let's place down the dragon. So the dragon and the Archer Tower also have another interesting kind of an effect. You'll see it does shoot a fire charge, and every once in a while it'll actually shoot it back at the perfect angle to hit the dragon. Looks like the Archer Tower actually isn't aggroing him because the dragon is too far away. Let me see if I can get another item over here. I was gonna show you guys this one a little bit later, which I will, but I'll just preview this for you guys right now. So let's place down the Expo, and the Expo should aggro the dragon. There you go. So it's gonna start spamming the dragon. You'll see that since it shoots arrows so fast, it'll actually shoot back a lot of the fire charges at the dragon. So this particular structure is a really good counter for the dragon. So let me just quickly knock out the dragon with the sword over here. Has 2,500 HP, so very, very tanky. It's gonna take a handful of hits even with this sword, which is the most powerful sword in the mod. And again, this dragon is really destructive. All right, a couple more hits. Almost there, almost there. And last one, maybe one more. And there we have it. All right, next up we have the Pekka. The Pekka is arguably the strongest one, arguably the strongest creature in Clash Royale. I think it has the highest stats, if I'm not mistaken. So let's place it down over here. And it actually kind of has an interesting way that the head moves. The ears don't go along with it, or horns or ears. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. But, oh, looks like he's completely in melee range. But you'll see it's really, really strong. So the way this one functions in Clash Royale is that it moves very slowly. So you could put other troops around in front of it to kite it. But when it gets close to tower range, it only takes a couple hits to actually take out your tower. And if I get closer, you'll see it has 4,500 health. Very, very strong. And even with this sword, I have to like spam click it and it'll take a long time. If I do put on this armor over here, which I'll talk about in a moment, you'll see I do a lot more damage. And then he's a lot... Well, this is actually a female character, by the way. She's actually a lot easier to take down. All right, let's grab those items and move on to the next set of mobs. Let me just quickly set it back to daytime. Time, set, day. There we go. And look at the next set. So we just finished the tier 3s. Let's look at the Dark Elixir troops. So let's put these guys away over here, as well as get rid of these items. We don't want to have a spam inventory. Let's grab these guys. All right, first up, we'll look at the Valkyrie. Now, the Valkyrie in the actual Clash Royale game is a melee troop that is pretty tanky, and it does this spinning AoE attack, which, let me just put down a tower. Did I put down the tower? I put it away. Let's see. So let's get the Archer Tower right over here. And it takes quite a few hits for it to go down. This one is not nearly as... It's slightly less tanky than it would be in Clash Royale. But you guys kind of get the gist of it. She does a spinning attack which has an AoE effect, so it can kill a lot of small troops that are around it. So it's a good counter to like mob swarms, and you'll see she actually does a pretty significant amount of damage. Let's take another look at how many she's doing per hit. So 124 across the board, and it's a pretty fast attack speed as well. So you'll notice that this tower is going down in just a matter of seconds. Pretty strong mob. All right, next up, let's look at the Golem. So you'll see I have the Golem as well as the Minigolem egg. The Golem will basically shatter into, well, it will explode into 2 different Minigolems once it's been killed. This is another really, really tanky mob. So let's put down an Archer Tower. You see the Expo is not having any of it. Let me get rid of this because it might make it a little bit obnoxious to get near the tower. There we go. But you'll see it moves very slowly. This one actually doesn't have a walking or running animation at all. But let's get a couple hits into it, and I want to show you how it splits into 2. I don't think the explosion has been added into the mod yet, so let me just double check. Yeah, it hasn't been added yet, but normally it... Alright, so let's knock a couple of these out. You see, these things aren't too strong, but since it's so tanky, it can just slowly push towards your tower and eventually just start squeaking in some damage like that. You'll see it's doing like 9, 10, 11 damage. Not a very significant damage source. Let's get rid of this guy as well. All right, next up, let's look at the Hog Rider. So the Hog Rider is a type of unit that will only attack buildings inside the actual game. So it'll ignore troops, and it's one of the it's actually, I think, tied for being the fastest troop in the game. So let me see if it actually is within range over here of the tower. All right, let's see, he's not approaching it. Let's get a little closer. You see, he just sprints towards the tower. He's gonna do a handful of damage. He doesn't have a lot of health, but he's a very good way of getting reliable tower damage in, because he'll just run straight towards the thing. All right, next up we have the Witch. So the Witch will spawn with 4 little skeletons around her, and every time the skeletons die, she'll spawn some more herself until she's actually dealt with. So let's see, oh, the Witch is down over here. So I'm gonna kill the skeletons and show you how this spawn function works. The Hog Rider's doing work. There we go. So let's see. She's gonna spawn some more creatures. Oh yeah. So even on deaths, it looks like she's spawning some more creatures in this mod. I think she might have spawned some inside the walls, which is why it was a little bit funky over there. But that is the gist of the Dark Elixir troops. You can spawn the Minigolems here just like this so you can see them. So yeah. All right, next up, let's take a look at what do we have over here. All right, the heroes. Yeah, so these are going to be the strongest characters inside the game. These are only in Clash of Clans. And since I'm kind of a noob in Clash of Clans, I haven't actually encountered these yet. I only downloaded the game a couple days ago just to prepare for this mod review. So let's look at these two over here. So first up, the Barbarian King. So Barbarian King is going to be another really strong troop. It has 4,453 health. Let's see how much damage it gets done. Wow. I think that was a little bit of a low health tower, but let's check again how much damage it does. 259, 259, so it consistently does 259 to this tower. So it should only take 1 or 2 more hits and this tower should be done. Last hit, yeah. 14 health, I can pretty much punch the thing. Really, really strong troop. And it also has a very important drop, so let's kill this thing quickly. And you see it also has the boss bar on top. Alright, so it drops this item over here, and this is called a Archer Queen Core. So this is used to spawn an Archer Queen boss, which I have right over here. So let's place it down over here. So she has less health, 1,630. Let's see how much damage she does to the tower. Again, this is a ranged attack, or it's supposed to be a ranged attack, but it's getting straight into melee range. Oh yeah, so it is shooting the things out. Alright, so let's kill this one quickly. Takes a couple less hits, and you'll see that she drops gold ingots. And the variation of gold ingots changes a little bit. I think I've gotten as high as 7 if I'm not mistaken. All right, so those are the bosses. Let's move on to the next one. So we have, well, the heroes rather. So next up we have the Clash Royale troops, and there's only one in this mod that's I'm having trouble saying this. That's exclusive to Clash Royale, and that's Sparky. Now this one is a recent addition into the game, but it's one of the coolest and one of the hardest to counter if you're not careful. So if you don't have any particular troops to handle this thing will potentially blow everything you have out of the water. And you see, this is also the only one in this mod that has its own card. So when you place this down, it functions the same as a spawn egg. And you'll see it has a 6 in the top left corner, which corresponds to the elixir cost. So if I place this down, it looks like this little laser thing on top of this car with 4 wooden wheels. All right, but let's place down an archer tower, and you'll see how destructive this thing actually is. So let's wait for it to aggro it. Let's see. There we go. And you'll see it shoots a fire charge, and it has this massive, massive AoE damage. Let's see how much damage it actually did to the archer tower. Not so much damage to the archer tower. In the actual Clash Royale game, this thing is incredibly destructive. I think at level 1, it has like 1,200 damage or something like that. So this thing can potentially take out an entire wave of troops if you're not ready for it. Let's get rid of this guy quickly over here. But this one is also considered a legendary inside Clash Royale. One of the harder mobs to get, harder troops to get rather. All right, let's move along. Let's get rid of these golems. What are you guys doing over here? So it even takes a couple hits with this sword and my special armor. So they're super duper tanky. All right, next up we have buildings. All right, so you already saw the archer tower, and it's basically just a tower that shoots arrows, but there are a handful of other buildings we can look at as well. So you do have, it's kind of similar to what we just saw with the Sparky, so you have the spawn egg as well as the actual properly textured item. So you see you have a cannon level 12 here with the corresponding texture, level 13, an archer tower that we saw, the Expo, Town Hall, Elixir collector, dev wizard tower, which means that the wizard tower is still in development, and the work in progress Inferno tower. All right, so let's take a look at all these guys over here. All right, so let's head to that corner again. Again, I'm trying to stay away from all this stuff so I don't blow it all up. All right, so first up, the archer tower, which again we saw. It's a really basic thing, 1050 HP. Now the cannon level 13 has 1260 HP, and this thing shoots a slow shooting arrow that does a pretty significant amount of damage. So let's spawn a golem since this thing is very slow. And let's get rid of the Sparky over there. So the cannon is gonna aggro the golem, and you'll see it does 68 damage per hit. Actually, let me get rid of this guy over here so we can isolate the damage amounts. Oh, so this one actually does a little bit less. So let's see, actually a little bit more. What was I saying? 167, 178. Let's take a look at another hit, 179. Pretty decent amount of damage. So let's get rid of it. All right, now let's move on to the town hall. So the town hall doesn't have any function yet. It does move around strangely. Like these things kind of have like a mob AI function to some extent where they can rotate. But this one is basically something that you would just upgrade in Clash of Clans, and it allows you to have access to more different buildings, more different troops, etc., etc. But again, has no function in this mod as of yet. So the Elixir or Elixir collector is basically a building that you would put down that collects Elixir over time. Elixir can be used to spend on various different things. This one has no function at the moment. It does look really cool. I mean, the actual block model for this looks pretty amazing. It's it looks very appropriate for Minecraft. And it does drop these little gold ingots. Gold nuggets, rather. I don't know. I always say that by accident. All right, so let's move on to the next building. So the Expo. So I did show you guys this one before in terms of showing it to the dragon. It just spams arrows like absolute mad, and it doesn't do a lot of damage. You'll see it's basically just doing 1 to 3. I think I saw 3 there, or just 1 to 2. I guess I did. Oh, there's a 3. Yeah, so 3 is a little bit rare, but this one is only really good in terms of how it functions in Minecraft for giving a knockback effect. I mean, to do enough damage to this golem to knock it out will take like a couple minutes. I mean, look at this thing. It's gonna. If this thing had any regen, it would probably regen faster than these arrows could actually hit. So this thing's good to kind of knock back big beefy mobs like this, because it won't be able to get close enough to get into range. All right, next up, let's look at the work in progress Inferno tower. So this one, again, it moves around, but it doesn't actually do anything. So you'll see the golem is going to approach it, but this thing won't actually attack it. This thing has a very unique function in the actual Clash Royale game. I'm pretty sure it functions similarly in Clash of Clans, but I haven't unlocked it yet. Is basically it does exponentially more damage when it locks onto a single character. So this particular building is one of the better tower structures to counter really big mobs like this, because the exponential damage will eventually, you know, do so much that it'll probably kill it before anything could get done. Let me set it to day again. Time set day. All right, next up we have the wizard tower. So this one does say dev, but although it is functioning a little bit, it's another troop slash building that just shoots fire charges. You see, it is reasonably destructive. The blast damage isn't as bad, and let's see how much health it has. 1010. So it's a reasonably strong tower. All right, so let's see what we have next. The golem, which we already saw, and these cannons are all essentially the same. You'll see if I spawn these things in, same as the other cannons, they're just different levels and just a different spawning design. All right, let's get rid of these guys and move along to the next part of the mod. All right, so are we up to... Okay, yeah, we're up to some of the items now. So let's put all this stuff away over here. All right, so now we have Elixir armor. So before I actually show you guys how they're crafted, let's take a look at what it's been doing to me. So it gives me an effect of slowness 3 with the entire set, strength 4, which is why my damage has increased so dramatically, and resistance 3. So let me show you how these are crafted. So we did see the Elixir drops before, and they're part of the crafting recipes. So the Elixir helmet requires 3 gold ingots as well as 3 elixirs. The Elixir chest plate has 5 elixirs and 3 gold ingots. The Elixir leggings has 4 gold ingots as well as 3 elixirs. And finally, the Elixir boots have 2 gold ingots as well as 2 elixirs. Something I thought that was kind of strange is that all of them kind of use the same shape of the crafting recipes in vanilla Minecraft, but this one has this extra one over here. I thought that was kind of strange. And it also applies the same thing to this this dark armor over here. Let me actually take this off because it is slowing me down a bit. All right, next up, the dark armor. So let's grab all this and equip it so we can see the stats that it gives us. And you'll see it gives me night vision 2, speed 4, and jump boost 3. So you do get a pretty sizable jump boost, and you are reasonably fast. All right, so this one uses obsidian as well as dark elixir. So dark elixir is dropped by the dark elixir troops. Yeah, I said that correctly. The dark elixir troops. So this one uses 3 dark elixir as well as 3 obsidian for the dark helmet. Let's get, these things are making me move way too fast. All right. Next, and here's another thing that was really interesting, is that after you take off the armor, you still retain the night vision 2 effect for roughly 20 seconds. So I think that's kind of a mistake on how the armor was coded, but it might be fixed eventually. So the dark chestplate uses 3 obsidian as well as 5 dark elixir. The dark leggings uses 3 dark elixir as well as 4 obsidian. And finally, the dark boots use 2 obsidian as well as 2 dark elixir. All right, next up we have weapons. So the first one is the dark sword level 1. Use a stick on the bottom with 2 dark elixirs in the middle and 4 obsidian just like that. Now this one can be upgraded repeatedly, which I'm going to demonstrate in just a moment. But all you do is surround it with gold ingots and you'll get a different upgrade. So this is the level 2 sword, the level 3, the level 4, and finally the level 5, which is what I've been using over here. And this thing is super OP. It has 100 attack damage. So let's go over here and grab these items out so we can spawn it. So I'll ignore these, but let's just take a look at the damage. 34 attack damage, 44 attack damage, 54 attack damage, and finally the big guy over here, 100 attack damage. So let's craft a handful of these. So let's put the dark sword in the middle and the gold ingots around it. And you'll see I now have a dark sword level 2, surrounded again. Dark sword level 3, surrounded again. Dark sword level 4, last time. And we have the dark sword level 5. And you'll also notice that the dark sword level 5 is the only one that has a unique texture. All right, so let's move along to 2 more different weapons. So we have the fire staff over here, where the fire staff is crafted using 2 blaze rods and a dark elixir. So this one has a pretty cool effect. So let's equip it over here. And you'll see that when you have it equipped, if I right click with it, it shoots a fire charge, which will leave the ground burning. But it doesn't have the blast effect like almost everything else does seem to have that uses a fire charge. Does a decent amount of damage as well, and you can use it on troops as well as buildings. So next up we have the lightning staff, which uses 2 blaze rods as well as a regular elixir. So let's equip this one over here. This one is very, very cool. I'm a very big fan of the lightning effects, so pretty awesome. Let me just use it on these villagers over here. There we go. Yep, so it does work on units as intended. Pretty awesome. All right, let's move on to the next thing, which is over here. So we have the Barbarian King boss. So in order to actually spawn the Barbarian King, you're gonna need a block of diamond, 4 dark elixir, as well as 4 obsidian over here. I don't know why I slowed down when I said that. All right, so the Barbarian King boss, as we saw earlier, is just this guy over here. So this is essentially his spawn egg. And I did show you before that when you kill him, he does drop an Archer Queen core. So this is the Archer Queen core over here, which will eventually allow you to spawn the Archer Queen boss. So you take the core, surrounded by 4 dark elixirs, as well as 4 bows like that, and you will get the Archer Queen boss. So that's pretty much the gist of all the features that this particular mod adds. It is a work in progress, so more things are being added. But in the meantime, I did make this little display over here to kind of demonstrate how a sample game of kind of Clash of Clans would look like. So I did put a bunch of random structures over here, of random buildings, some walls, and I have a handful of mobs that I'm going to spawn over here, and we're going to just see how destructive these things will actually get. So let's grab a whole ton of these. I'm not going to use the weapon. I'm just going to kind of let these things do their own thing. So let's leave that over there for now. So let's start off with a bunch of archers. We got a ton of expos and stuff. So let's throw down some, let's throw down some dragons, a couple wizards, a witch, a Pekka, a hog rider or 2 or 4. Let's see, the Wallbreaker. So this thing is going to blast up into pieces in a second. The Barbarian King. So let's see how much longer these things can actually last. All right, so let's actually get into those other couple spawn eggs that I didn't use. This is lagging me pretty nicely. All right, so we also have the Archer Queen, the Sparky. Sparky's going to just wreck this whole field in a moment, and the Giant. So let's see how those buildings have been handling. Looks like they've been doing pretty well, so they've actually fended off, and I put down a pretty decent amount of mobs, but they've been holding themselves off. The Pekkas look like they're getting within range, so the Queen's skeletons are basically tanking the Expo's hits while the Pekkas are getting closer to do the big damage. So let's spawn the Archer Queen over here. Man, these Expos are really going to work. Let's spawn 2 Sparkies. Look at all these arrows. This is insane. Look at that. And I think I'm about to crash. I have to back up. Oh my goodness, the lag is unreal. Sparky, why'd you do this? This is definitely Sparky's fault. Oh man, this is really, really bad lag. Wow. Okay, so it finally updated all that stuff. But I think, let me just get rid of the Sparky over here, because this is yeah, look at that. As soon as he blasts the thing, just lag city. Alright, you're officially done. Because I think there was another thing I noticed with Sparky is that it actually doesn't update all the blocks after it explodes. So if I go down like this, let me see. Let's see. Oh man, this lag is crazy. This is something that the developer might want to work on. But then again, this might be a more extreme scenario with me spawning so many of these things. Although you would technically do the same thing in Clash of Clans. All right, so let's get this guy out of the way as well. Can't be having you anymore. Come on. Oh my goodness. This is absolutely insane. All right. Come on. No more. No more, no more, no more. All right. You are done. All right, cool. So it looks like these buildings actually held off all of these mobs. That's pretty impressive, because I figured the amount of creatures that I spawned would have handled them very easily. Let me put down a couple giants, so I don't think I got to try these out yet. Let's put down a handful over here, a handful over here, and see how they fare. And it looks like they're just kind of idling. That's pretty interesting. And this Pekka is still around over here. I think the buildings kind of gave up aggro. This might be kind of like a lag issue from what was happening earlier, because it looks like everything is kind of just chilling out. But anyway, guys, that is the gist of the Clash of Mobs mod. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Pretty cool mod rather. That does have a lot of features and is still being developed. So you will see some of the new troops being added to this mod eventually. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like it if you did, as it does help me out a lot. And subscribe if you want to see videos similar to this one in the future. This was Smooth, and I'll see you all later. Take it easy, guys.